Good morning. I did something fun this morning and I opened up my Bible and I opened it up so very random, but it fell on the book of Ruth when I opened it. When I looked down at the pages, I immediately saw Ruth 2:2. And Ruth the Moabite said unto Naomi, Let me now go to the field and glean ears of corn after him, in whose sight I shall find grace. And she said unto her, Go, my daughter. What is gleaning? The gleaning is going after the overlooked, unpicked things that may have been missed the first time around. It's like counting change and then counting it a second time because you might have missed one or two. Anyway, this verse goes back to the book of Leviticus, chapter 19:9. Are you seeing the synchronicities? 199, 22. We'll get into that in a minute. Alright, 19:9 says, And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corners of your field, neither shall you gather the gleanings of thy harvest. So the command is to, when you go out and you harvest, leave the corners and don't go back for a second picking, because those are there for the strangers and for the poor people. So what Ruth was telling Naomi is that they were strangers in a new land. They were from the country of Moab, and they were married to outside men from other countries. So they were strangers. They were the alien. And what Ruth was saying is that she was going to go out to the field because the law, the Hebrew law, says that there will be food out there for me, because they were not to do a second picking and leave the corners. And Naomi said, Go, my daughter. The Jewish law was created out of fear. It was a very fear-based system, the Old Testament. If you look at where they're talking in the book of Leviticus about how to trade, how to buy and sell your slaves, how to treat your slaves, let's get real, like, slavery has been a thing forever. I mean, it's going on in other countries. It's happening here in the United States in a very underground way. It hasn't gone away. But the book of Leviticus is very clear on how the treatment of slaves should be, and how to buy and sell them. It was fear-based, and if you go back and you read it again, because it's actually talking about spiritual slavery, addictions, validation seeking, all of the shadow aspects of the human psyche, spiritual slavery. So we can follow this where Ruth was going to gather the gleanings. Think about it like spiritual teachings. The harvest is the wisdom. Don't take all the wisdom for yourself. You've got to leave some for the other people. And Jesus actually talked about this in the New Testament where it's the book of Mark. Hold on. It's the book of Mark, chapter 7, verse 27. Jesus said unto her, actually, I'll start at 26. The woman was Greek, a Syro-Phoenician by nation. She besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter. But Jesus said unto her, let the children first be filled, for it is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it unto the dogs. She answered and said unto him, yes, Lord, yet the dogs under the table eat of the children's crumbs. And he said to her, for this saying, go thy way. The devil is gone out of your daughter. And when she came to her house, she found the devil gone out, and the daughter laid upon the bed. Jesus was speaking about the children being the Jews. And he used the analogy of kids and dogs and breadcrumbs. So the children Jesus was speaking about were the Jews, and the dogs being the Gentiles, the non-Jewish people. The Greeks, the Romans, etc. So what she said was, even the dogs eat the children's crumbs. So the breadcrumbs are like unto the corn in the field, the gleanings. Jesus was preaching about unity, that everybody deserved this information. It wasn't just reserved for the Jews, but he spoke in allegory and parable because those waking up understand. They understand already, and they're able to put it into their own parables to help wake up everyone else. Matthew chapter 22, verse 35. One of the people that Jesus was talking to, he spoke up out of the crowd. He was a lawyer, and he asked Jesus a question, tempting him, saying, Master, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. He just brought the Trinity together. Heart, soul, mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law of all the prophets. All of the stories in the Old Testament were all parables. They were all allegory. They were all story. To bring the word the vibration, the frequency, to align the people. So the great commandment is to first love the Lord thy God, who is God. The book of Exodus teaches us that God is the I am. I am God. I'm not source, but I am God. Do not your own scriptures say that you are all gods? Jesus said that, standing on the temple steps. Gods, plural. I am God, you are God, we are God. Love yourself first, so that way you can go out into the world and be so healed that you can see other people's wounds and still love them. All right. So, that's the message today. And let's find out what is happening. Why does this need to be a message for the collective today? New blueprints. Oh shit. New blueprints. This is Izzy Ivy's Beyond Lemuria Oracle deck. And underneath it all is vulnerability. The new blueprints for the new earth are being handed down right now to people like me, to people like you. Those of us who have woken up, we're being given new blueprints. Part of the ability for us to receive this information is through our vulnerability. To be vulnerable is to share your story, to figure out where your shadow is, and heal your shadow. You're not getting rid of your shadow, you're integrating your shadow. And that is true. Let me see. No. True vulnerability is in healing your mind. And we learn in Hermetics that all is mind. And quantum mechanics, through the double slit experiment, teaches us that waves collapse into particle when they are observed. However, when they're not being observed, they are floating as pure potential. So until the idea comes into our heads, for example, it's floating out there in the quantum realm as a wave of potential. We can open up to understand that the quantum field and our consciousness are one and the same. And we start to put it into practice, whether you're conscious of it or not. Like, you know, not everybody's going to go out there and start questioning quantum physics and quantum mechanics and but you start manifesting things and realizing that God only helps those who help themselves. So God only helps those who help themselves. Then we start understanding that we are God and we need to start helping ourselves. That means we literally have to start pulling our heads out of our asses and get our mental health under control. Do the shadow work, go to therapy, journal, figure out how your traumas, your past experiences have shaped your actions and reactions now. I want to know about the new blueprints. I'm seeing definite crown chakra, butterfly transformation energy, the dragon invulnerability. This is about aligning your chakras. The root chakra. We start at the root. What things affected us in that area of our bodies. The sacral chakra. What traumas affected us. It's time. Okay, so you don't get a Kundalini activation until you can integrate that. Understand, for me, my heart chakra had always been open. I was never closed off to love. I never was in, I had fear, but it was open. It was maybe a little bit blocked, maybe, you know, literally. I had a 95% blockage in my heart at the age of 35 years old, okay? I had a blockage in my heart. But I was still open to giving love. But what was happening is I wasn't allowing myself to receive. I had an angioplasty and a stent placed in, and that opened the blood flow back up. But my throat chakra was still closed. I was not speaking my truth. I was not learning boundaries. I kept having problems until I started to heal the things that were below my heart. What do I need to know here? Take that one too. The Four of Wands. This is the Tarot of Thoth. Completion. The Priestess. The Five of Wands. Interesting. So we have a little bit of a progression here. This card says strife. But at the bottom of the deck is prudence with the Eight of Pentacles. You see how the 4 is complete, but the 5 comes in and removes a spoke? The Fool is also at the bottom of the deck, as well as the Universe, or the World card. So the bottom line here is that there was so much hard work for whoever this reading is for. There was so much hard work put into understanding who you are, what makes you tick. That you have been able to close chapters and open chapters. Integrate those lessons very quickly. You get the knowledge, you wrestle with it just a little bit, and then you integrate cycle complete. I'm seeing the spiral. This is the new blueprint, because when you can understand yourself, then you can understand the people around you, and it makes it so much easier to have compassion, because you know that you're not vulnerable in a negative way because you have boundaries now. Pull a final card from the Akashic Records. You can step in and out of situations like so easily. You get the lessons almost immediately is what I'm hearing. So you don't ever have to get stuck in the underworld for too long. It's like you've already stepped out of the underworld and now you are ruling your space with sovereignty. And this is the new blueprint. This is the book of Revelation. This is the evolution of humanity. Those that have woken up heard the call of the 144,000 and they started to do the work. Being chosen doesn't mean being chosen by some bearded granddad up in the clouds. Chose yourself. The 144,000 is just a frequency. It's a frequency that is so high vibrational that you can't hear it with your ear, but you can feel it with your body. So you've begun to trust your body, your feelings, your emotions. Okay. So we have the card Reach Out. You've isolated yourself and are trying to do everything on your own, and it's okay to ask for help. To reach out, to ask for support at this time. But we also have inner peace. You're letting outside circumstances create turmoil and frustration within you. So remember that you have the power to choose your response. Let inner peace attract a higher vibrational outcome for you. And I'm going to leave you with this. You will run into situations where you see absolutely no way out of it, but remember that you have survived 100% of the things that were meant to kill you up until this point. You have healed. You have already integrated your shadow. So if your ego, if your human comes out and you feel like you're going crazy, remember who you are. Remember all the work that you have done to get to where you're at right now. It's just a little bump in the road. You're opening and closing cycles every day. Find the lesson, find the meaning within the hiccup. And reach out to people like me, or whoever that you're okay being vulnerable with, just so that you can get the little bit of tweaking, the perspective shift that you need to come out of this. I love you. Have a good weekend. I saw 21:12 on the clock. Bye.